Today, the Altar of is bringing us a very powerful contemplation. And this is the type of contemplation you can take with you wherever you go. Imagine someone that you truly respect walks into the room. I don't just mean someone like you generally respect. The type of person, if they were to walk in right now, you would probably drop your glass and sit up straight, and it would be pretty intense of an experience. So the example the Altar River brings is a king. So in our society, we're not conditioned to have a natural awe of a king necessarily, but in his days, if a king were to walk into the room, that would be a tremendous deal. And so here's the idea. When the king is sleeping, you still have a certain level of awe of the king, but not the same amount as when the king is present and talking and you see the king's full vitality. Because really, what a person has a natural respect for is the king's inner essence, the king's vitality, their kingship. And so even when you just see the sleeve of their robe enter the room, you'd be like, oh my gosh, the king is coming. And so that's even present when the king is sleeping, but it's more of a concealed state since the king's vitality is also concealed. So here's the idea. The world is God's garments. They are the garments of the king. God clothes his blessed Ein Sof, his blessed light, into the world. Therefore, every single thing we interact with in this world is God's clothing. And just like someone just sees the sleeve of the king and they know that the king is within that sleeve, is clothed within those garments, they're going to feel a natural awe for God. So a natural awe for the king. And so therefore, just by exploring this world and going into nature and studying astronomy and studying what goes on in the depths of the ocean, if you've ever gone snorkeling, that's probably enough to give you awe of God. It's like, wow, when you see the awesomeness of this world, and then not just do you see the awesomeness of this world, but you go a level beyond that and you say, wow, what is this a garment for? What is the inner vitality, the inner life force? And we realize the inner life force of this world is God. That gives us an automatic awe of just existence. So just like with a human being that we respect, just like with this king, it doesn't matter how many layers of garments and clothing they're wearing, we have the same level of awe because the king is clothed within it. Even if the king has 10 robes on, it's not going to make us have any less, awe of the king or feel like the king is any farther. The king is right there. He is the vitality that's enclosed within those garments. So too, even if things are literally so concealed and there's so many thick layers of garments and it's hard to see the inner vitality, when we remember God is the vitality behind this is God's garments, it's going to give us an awe of God. So through practice, a person will start to perceive easily how everything in this world is the king's garments. And how just as the king fills his clothes, God's light is the energy behind this world. So this practice is called emunah. Emunah, faith, is this practice of taking this intellectual concept of God is the vitality of all the world. The whole world is God's clothing. If we take God's name, Yud-Keh, Vav-Keh, God sees beyond the world, Shem Elohim, which is the same gematria as nature, 86, Teva. And so really what's happening is God's endless light is being enclosed within God's name of Elohim, which is connected to nature. So nature is really God's clothing. And emunah is seeing past the veil, the garment, and looking deeper and seeing how God is behind everything. So this is just like a skilled worker. An uman trains his hands, ma'amin, his hands. So when we look at the word emunah, it's connected to the idea of a craft. And so this is really a Jew's art. A Jew's art is seeing God in everything. It's seeing God in the sunset. It's seeing God in your ice cream falling on the floor. It's seeing God in the patterns of the waves as they wash up on the ocean. It's seeing God in our taxes and in our bills and the grocery receipt number. It's seeing God in everything in our life because that's the reality. This isn't just... this isn't even abstract art. This is really just the reality that God is the energy behind everything.